Hey everyone, my name is Drew and welcome to Novelytic. Today I'm going to take you through my April TBR. So for the month of March, I really didn't stick to my TBR very well. Oops. I kind of went through this weird thing. Like I was doing I had some arcs that I had to do, which I didn't initially include in my TBR. And then I ended up having a health issue I had to deal with, and that sort of took away from a lot of my reading time. And then I was just stressed out with work. And I mean, I did keep up with my goal of reading a little bit each day. So, and I did read a lot, but my TBR was not. So I'm finding that in April there are a couple of books that I do want to read. However, I might keep it more of a mood ready kind of month. I do feel like this will be a good month because as a teacher I have state testing coming up this month, which that's for about a week, so it'll be an easier week in terms of the workload for my students. It'll also be a brand new quarter, so all the students have a fresh start, and then so that just that takes a little bit off my plate. I'm very fortunate enough with my job to have the first week off in April, so I intend on doing as much reading as possible. So let's get to it. So the next two books I absolutely want to read within the beginning of the month, because as many of you know, we have Shadow and Bone coming out, and I read the first book. I enjoyed it, so I do want to continue on with the series prior to watching the Netflix show. So I will be adding on to my TBR Siege and Storm by Leigh Bardugo, as well as Ruin and Rising. So they're not super chunky, they're just a little bit chunky, but I do think they will be very fast-paced reads. I think I read Shadow and Bone in it was for like a week-long readathon. I can't remember what it was called, but I read it in like a day or two. So I do think if I have off, I'll get through these pretty quickly. If I do have time, I will go back and reread Six of Crows, because I read that a long time ago, even before Shadow and Bone, and I really don't remember much. And maybe I'll get to Crooked Kingdom 2. Again, we'll see where the month goes. So the next book I'll be reading is a brand new release, which I am so pumped for, and that is The Unbroken by C.L. Clarke. So this is the first book in the Magic of the Lost series. A queer fantasy, queer sci-fi fantasy? Please, please, give me more. So in this, Terrain is a soldier, stolen as a child and raised to kill and die for the Empire. Her only loyalty is to her fellow conscripts. But now her company has been set back to her homeland to stop a rebellion, and the ties of blood may be stronger than she thought. Luca needs a turncoat. Someone desperate enough to tiptoe the bayonet's edge between treason and orders. Someone who can sway the rebels towards peace while Luca focuses on what really matters, getting her uncle off her throne. Through assassinations and massacres, in bedrooms and war rooms, Terrain and Luca will haggle over the price of a nation, but some things aren't for sale. Super intrigued. I do have a copy of this on my Kindle. It's definitely a fantasy-filled month, I know it, but I'm super excited for it. I am curious if it flips back between point of view or if it's going to be more of like an omniscient viewpoint, but I am super excited to read this one. So the next book I will be reading is for Tagalong, which is The Throne of Glass. I am turning into Sid. The Throne of Glass readathon, which we actually started in January, so this is month 4, and this will be Heir of Fire by Sarah J. Maas, which I heard is very divisive. I am not going to go into the synopsis because, again, it is further along in the series, but basically the series follows Selena, who is an assassin. In the first book, she has to sort of fight to become the royal assassin, and it sort of follows that as well. Again, another fantasy book, but I've been enjoying the read-along so far, and the live shows at the end of the month they're a lot of fun. So feel free to join that. I will link the Twitter for that down below. For Down Memory Jane, although last month we read Sense and Sensibility, at the time of making this read-along there really wasn't any Sense and Sensibility retellings out at the time that were easily accessible, so with that group, we will be reading another Pride and Prejudice retelling, which is Aisha at Last by Uzma Jalaluddin. All I know is that it is more of a Muslim Pride and Prejudice retelling, and Pride and Prejudice is my favorite book, so I am super stoked to read this. The last retelling that we read, Pride by Ibuzaboy, was so good, so I have no doubt that this is going to be just as enjoyable. My final two TBR books are The Empress of Assault and Fortune, as well as When the Tiger Came Down the Mountain, both by Niveau. So I read Empress of Assault and Fortune last year, and it was by far, I'm pretty sure it was like my favorite book of last year. It was so good. I borrowed it from the library, and I just haven't been able to stop thinking about it, so I finally, I kind of gave in, I'm like, I'm getting it. And of course, the second one came out, which I don't believe it's technically a sequel, I just believe that it is in the same universe. I can't wait to read this. I want to reread this because, again, I loved it so much. And I have no doubt that this second one, this second installment, it's going to be just as good. And of course, I need to have these both read because in June we have The Chosen and the Beautiful coming out, which, so excited. I am 99.9% sure that Niveau is going to be one of my favorite authors. Also, some of the books that I didn't finish in my March TBR, I still have a couple of days left. So if I don't finish them, which honestly I probably will not finish them all, I will carry some of those books over too. Like I said, I have the first week of April off, so I am really hoping to catch up on some reading then. So there you have it. Here is my lovely stack of my April TBR. It looks quite tiny, but I think that is okay because I need to mood read. I need some mood reading as well. But these are definitely some that I want to get to either because of the TV shows coming out. I'm very strong about reading the books before watching the movie or TV show, but details. And then these ones are actually pretty short, and we have 2 collections of poetry. And then of course we have the Unbroken on my Kindle as well. So yeah, there you have it. All right, until next time, bye.